As you can see, the title from the thumbnail, it is how to transition from passive patient to actually a proactive health CEO. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Sabrina, and I understand what it's like to be ignored by doctors, to not really know your health status is deteriorating because you don't have someone who is honest with you about your specific situation. And what I had to learn to do is become very proactive in my own health and learn what I needed to do to be the best that I could be for myself. And so as I progress along in my communications with you all, I want to share with you and empower you to do the same thing. If you have not heard, my mission for myself and for this channel is to improve my health and performance while reducing my reliance on the healthcare system. And the only way that I know how to do that is, number one, about God's mercy and his grace, and number two, me in pursuing wisdom and insight as it relates to my body. But I think there are healthy conversations we could have around becoming a proactive health CEO, and not continuing to being a passive patient. So today I want to quickly share with you is to help you understand that the healthcare system is not really designed for prevention. It is it's just really designed to patch you up along the way. And you have to now lead your own health strategy if you really want to be empowered in your health. Recently, I had a doctor tell me I do seek out therapeutic partners to help me to improve my health. So I don't mind aligning with doctors. I'm very physician adjacent. But she told me that she could, because of the condition my health was in, because of the good health that I have, thank God for that, it's nothing that she could do for me. And I really appreciated her honesty. And so one of the things I want to share with you today is understanding the human body's, the body's system. And what I mean by that, there are 12 major systems of the body. And we can look at them all differently. We can look at the digestive system differently from the skeletal system, and the skeletal different from the integumentary system, which they are. But I want you to understand, although we have 12 major systems of the body, they all interact together. The problem that we have is most of the time when you go to the doctor, that's how the doctor looks at you. They look at, if you go to the cardiologist is going to only look at the main vessels of the heart. But they may not look at the other major systems that could be impacting your health with your heart. And then, so that fragments the way that your health care is provided to you. The other thing is that fragmentation goes along when doctors no longer speak to other doctors. So if you go to the dermatologist, you may not think something with, and it may not, you may not think something with the dermatologist has anything to do with the cardiologist, and it may not. However, these two systems don't collide. And so sometimes you see people who are overly medicated. They're going to one doctor, they're prescribing this. They go to another doctor, they're prescribing this. And so what happens is you find people who are overly medicated. I know in many cases of family members who have been taking the same medications by doctors. This is how people die from overdoses and things of that nature. Or you end up blowing out one organ system because you're actually impacting it too heavily. And so if you're having surgery, this doctor didn't pull your medical records or talk to this other doctor about what they're prescribing you. You don't have an understanding of it. And so basically you just go home, start taking the medications, and then you have a side effect that could cost you your life. So because the healthcare system is fragmented, that means that it's going to be some blind spots as it relates to your overall care. So I want to also share with you, when the healthcare system is fragmented, many times the earliest warning signs of you having a medical problem is often missed. And so this can lead to misdiagnosis and things of that nature. And so as when I go into a doctor's office, I come with an agenda. And I'm not saying that agenda can't be changed or I'm not teachable and I don't want to learn from someone else, but I know specifically what I need this doctor to do and what they can provide for me, right? Because many times what I've seen, if you go into a doctor's office and you don't have an agenda, you don't know what you're talking about and those types of things, many times the doctors I believe that they play on an ignorant patient. So let me explain what I mean. Many times if you go to any doctor in any field, they know a patient who is really an advocate for themselves and they know a patient who's not. And you can tell the difference of how they treat each one. Most doctors is going to become annoyed with me because I'm going to be asking questions that's going to pull from them, that's going to make them probably spend more time with me, which is going to annoy them because if they're accustomed to dealing with patients who really don't ask questions, they just say, yes, okay, I'll take this and this is all right and that type of thing. Someone like myself is going to be very annoying. And I'm fine with that. I would much rather someone tell me that I'd rather not treat you because you're too much work for me as a patient versus wasting my time. But a doctor's not going to tell you that because they don't want to be sued, right? So for me, I have an agenda. I come in with a plan, right? And so oftentimes doctors know a patient who knows what they know. Not that I'm trying to come in and try to be them as the doctor, but what I'm saying is I walk around with my body all day long. And you can't just make me believe something. And I understand sometimes with test results, obviously we see how the body is internally responding. But from an external perspective, if you are very intuitive about your body and you're really paying attention yourself, examining yourself, you can have a good communication with your doctor, so it makes it worthwhile. The third thing that I want to share with you is the mindset shift that it takes to go from a passive patient to an active CEO. The goal here is to take ownership. I want you to take full agency over your health. No one doctor sees the full picture. I'm going to say that again. No one doctor sees the full picture. And I think a lot of times what happens, especially in the African American community, we become impressed by someone who has a lot of acronyms behind their name. But you want someone who is not looking at their degrees, which absolutely means nothing. You see judges sit on benches that they barely made it out of law school. You have doctors who was able to pass a series of written tests and exams, but they really can't practically work out in a technical perspective with working with patients or what they've seen in class. And oftentimes what you see in the hospital is going to be very different from what you're going to see while you was in medical school. And so we get impressed because someone achieved a specific goal, but it does not mean that they're going to provide you with the adequate care that you actually need. If you think about a CEO does not do everything for the company. And so one doctor can't do everything for you. I am a big proponent, even in reducing my reliance on the healthcare system, is to have doctors to treat every organ system. Okay, I think it can become very dangerous when you give your total care off to one doctor because they're going to miss something. You got to think that we have over 63,000 miles of blood vessels, so it can become very, very dangerous for you to give all of your care over to one doctor. So I want you to encourage you to look at it that way. And also, I want you to look at it this way: is when you start outsourcing responsibility, you're putting yourself in a position that you're going to lose. As well as doctors, you yourself have to be in tune with what's going on, and you cannot give the full responsibility over to someone else of whether or not your care is adequate or not. I say this all the time. So many people I see get married to a doctor, they get married to a protocol, and they don't want to change because they think this person is the person that knows all and be all. You don't want to go do no independent research. You don't want to read and study. How can you have an autoimmune disease and you've never thought that beyond what the doctor told you that you need to pick up a book and read yourself to find out about your own medical issue. That's irresponsible on your part as the patient. I want to also say this. You have to stop waiting for someone to fix you, right? No one is going to come to rescue you, right? And I want to say this to people who actually have, either you yourself or you have family members who have given so much to make sure to try to support you in being healthy, whether that's either they're cooking your meals, they're making sure you get to your doctor's appointments, they are encouraging you to stay healthy, to exercise, to do all these different types of things, and you're doing everything that you can to fight against that person who is actually doing something that you should be doing for yourself. In the case of a marriage, I think that is spousal abuse. I think in case of friendships, that's abuse of a friendship. No one should be pushing you unless you're paying them, and it's a limit to that too. But no one should be pushing you to take care of yourself and fighting with you for you to stay healthy. I think it's really insulting for, I've seen this in marriages, I've seen this with parents with their children, children with their parents. It's insulting for someone to have to fight with you to eat better, to do all the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, all because they want you to live a longer, healthier life. That's abuse, and it's ignorant and it's irresponsible for you to do that to somebody else. Today, I want to encourage you to take the position of an active CEO in your health. God is first. God created you. He created me. And I just truly believe, I just believe this with all of me, that God created a special protocol and a process for each and every one of us. And it's going to look a little different. It's not going to necessarily be the same. It's going to look a little different. And I think that if we would adhere to that and we would just lean in and get his insight and wisdom, all of us can live a better quality of life. And so I hope that this video encouraged you just to understand the mind shift from being a passive patient, now becoming an active CEO in your own health. And I also hope that it encourages you to take stock in your own life and really sit down and evaluate where you are and make some honest evaluations, and then put in practice some processes and some systems to help you get to the health that you desire. If you are looking to improve your health and you need some assistance looking over labs and those types of things and navigating a plan, putting together a plan to help you to be healthy, look at the description below and you can be able to contact me there. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. Be blessed, everybody.